Can you talk about what your style says about you?
If anything, it says that I'm undecided, weird, clown, or I don't know, like my style just, like it changes. I love to dress like a boy, I like high heels, I love bright colors, I love to wear black, I love everything that's unflattering. I think there's like so many Freddies that I can't just have one style that's going to come and capture it. Kind of noticed that when I was really young, I was a child and I went to my dad and I said, I think I have a problem. And he said, what is it? And I said, yeah, I think there's more than one people in my head. But he didn't look worried, he just said, oh, okay. He said, no, I think in your case there's actually 4 to 5 people.
What's today saying? Which Freddie are we seeing?
Today, I love wearing dungarees because like I'm really comfortable and trainers and I felt a bit obviously intimidated to come into this video, so I need to feel kind of like like rounded, so trainers are good.
Have you always been so free in your expression?
Oh my God, no. Growing up, I was so shy and very insecure, very paranoid. I was born in Paris. I'm French, but I don't look it. I've always like really tried so hard to be perceived as someone smart. When I was young, I was really good at school.
Could you take something off and continue? Yeah, you can take off your scarf.
That would be good because I'm really hot. The first time that I went into a private school, it wasn't even so far from where I was living and it wasn't that much of a social gap, but at the time it felt like it. And because I was in that school, there was not many black people at all. So that's when, like you're really aware that you're different, because the school where I was when I was younger, the primary school, etc., it was much more diverse. And then all of a sudden you have to explain things that you've never even questioned yourself. Like I remember on my first week at school, someone asked me if when I have a shower, the water goes brown. And I said, well, it depends on when was the last time I had a shower, but usually no. At that time, I started to feel that being black was a burden. It was like something that was really noticeable, and it would kind of make me feel uncomfortable because that's something that I could easily forget about, because unless I see a mirror, I'm going to forget. And even if I see a mirror, I'm not going to think, oh, I have a black skin. I really wanted to be blonde. I would see all of like these girls and like their hair was like long and silky and would move in the wind. And I was just like, and then all of the boys seemed to be smitten by them. And I was like, that's what I want.
How did that affect your life and like you as a person?
I would not speak up. I would always always carry myself like I'm sorry to be around and trying to just not be seen. Always felt uncomfortable, insecure around people.
How would you dress?
I had my best friend at the time, like she had more money, so she had access to everything. Her parents were really generous to her, so we could always like borrow from her. So I would like always borrow her stuff. So as a result, like my style was really a bit like hers, because she had like the latest cool things. I was really dramatic. I've never thought that I would live so long, At the time, I just thought there's no way I'm going to pass the age 15, and then there's no way I'm going to live other than 18, because at the time it felt unbearable to just live in this skin.
Did you ever do an afro or?
No, never. No. The afro is only recent. It's only, like maybe 5 years or something. I've never even thought that you were not meant to relax your hair. It was from a young age, that's the routine, like every 2 to 3 months, you have to do your roots. You don't even question it. When I went to uni as well, people were dreadful, like worse than the people I had met before.
At university?
Yeah, so when I first arrived in that school, people are all assumed, look at her, she's probably from the rough suburbs and stuff. Well, I was from the suburbs, that was true, but I wasn't from anywhere rough. People asked me if my parents could speak French. I'm from Cameroon, which is a French colony, so my parents are native speakers. There were some guys there that were fascinated by, I don't know why, for some people, black women are this like sexual thing. People think that you're going to be wild, that you have like special tricks in bed and like be like a lioness. There were things that I got told, like some guys that were like, oh my God, like Freddie, like you're so hot. Like if you were not black, I would definitely fuck you. People feel like they can say that and that it's okay, and it's like they also pass that as a sort of compliment, like you're nearly there, like if you had a different skin color, I would definitely approve this. There was a guy once that told me, my dad, he once went to Senegal and there was like the chief of the village like offered him all of his daughters, something really silly, and said, But my dad has always told me, don't touch black girls, they smell. And I was like, okay, so if that's a fact, tell me if I smell. So I gave him my wrist, and he smelled my wrist, and he was like, yes, you stink like a black person. And that guy was like 20. I mean, he was too old to be saying these things. And I remember, like, that made me cry, and I said that to my mom. But my mom is like, she's no nonsense. She doesn't have time for these things. She was just like, well, you know, when I was living in Cameroon and there was like all of those French around us with their cheese and their wine, we used to think that they stink as well, okay? She was like, you know, like these things are just relative. So when I was in uni, so these things were really difficult at the beginning. Like I was really like, you know, it was in like that posh part of Paris. All of the people, like these people were my age, they were in my class, but they seemed to lead completely different lives. You know, like going out for drinks after school, going out, like for me, it was just like, I have no money. Like I have enough money to pay for my transport, and I go back home and I work. This whole like way to socialize, like where I was from, we don't do that. You know, like I was after school, I would just go home and then, you know, like you stay on the phone to your friends, that you watch TV, do your homework. I felt like I would never catch up. I would always be behind, you know. I'm like here, like working harder. But these people, like they get the best internships during the summer because their parents know this person and they know this person. And because then by the end of our studies, they're going to have a resume full of these amazing internships. They're going to start their career having an amazing job when you're sleeping in the back of the class like most of the year. And the money that we like had to spend for like for the school fees, like for you it's nothing, but then for me it's just it's like a life investment. You know, like now I live in London and I love living here because here I get to be French. Like in France, it's something that I really have to constantly justify or fight for. Like no one is going to give that to me. So you kind of feel like you're in transit. You're not from here, but you're here. And this it's like it's not like it's not a root solid enough to grow from.
How did having these self-esteem issues affect your relationships in terms of, you know, love relationships?
Yeah, I've definitely had my fair share of frogs. Yeah, you know, like kiss the frogs, but they never turn into charming prince. Yeah, I had terrible boyfriends. I had like a boyfriend, I stayed with him for like quite a few years. I mean, he just like tore every single layer of confidence I might have had at the time. You know, like everything was my fault. Everything was because I wasn't this enough. I wasn't good enough. I wasn't, you know, like I was not worthy of trust. I was never attractive enough, but you know, I'm doing you a favor by being with you. I don't think that I really feel comfortable around men in general. I mean, my husband is one, but then the rest, I'm not really bothered. I just always, yeah, I think sometimes around men, I feel like once again need to kind of like portray myself as someone, you know, like to prove that I am this and that. Before I am a woman, before I am black, before I am, you know, I am Freddie, and this is something that I've discovered like in the last 3 years, and this is amazing, you know, like when I decided to start living my life beyond the walls of, you know, my gender, you know, I don't care if I'm a woman, I don't care if I'm black or white, etc. You have these like endless possibilities just standing in front of you. You can just be anything, do anything, say anything, because what's left is you. You know, and when I first met my husband, I didn't want anything to do with him because he came, he was so keen, so nice, and already so into like this whole thing, and I was like, oh my god, like no. I was so used to people not being like that, you know, like everything had to be a struggle, love had to be a struggle. And in a really non-arrogant way, I think I'm amazing. You know, like I can't believe that I missed that. No, but I can't believe that I missed that for so many years. Oh, I'm a bit shy.
When do you feel the most vulnerable?
When I'm with like people who seem like we had really different paths in our lives, I'm always intimidated at the beginning. It took me so much time to understand myself, and that I was just like, how can someone that is so different than me can understand me, really? And I think, yeah, I'm always scared to be misunderstood.
When do you feel the most beautiful?
When, I know it's cheesy, but when I'm with my husband, yeah, because he's the first one who pointed out to me my smile. You know, he's like, you smile a lot. I've never noticed before that I was a smiler, you know, because I would never feel like a smiler inside. And it's true, I smile a lot. And he says, he calls me the goof. He says that I have the goof. Like, the goof is when it's just completely open. And I get that a lot with him. He's always said, like, that's when you're just the most beautiful. And so every time I smile, I feel beautiful, because I always remember what he said about that.
We say everything. What would you tell your 10-year-old self?
Oh my God. I would tell her so many things. First, I would give her a massive cuddle. I would take her in my arm, like, just calm down. Calm down. Things are not so bad. Are not dramatic. And you're going to pull through. You're going to just bloom in ways you can't even imagine. Like, your life is going to be much, much more different. You can't see it now, but yeah, trust me.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
How do you feel now after doing it?
Yeah, no, I feel good. Yeah, I feel definitely good. It's been great.
We feel good too.
You do have an amazing smile.
I know.
Thank you. I had to have like a tooth taken earlier this year. And then first I was so sad, now I don't care, but I have a big hole in my mouth that you can see.